I am your host, Christene Marie. Y'all, I'm committed to these conversations being kept to 10 to 15 minutes and under. And the reason for that is because we all lead such busy lives. And frankly, not many of us have time to sit down and listen to full length podcast episodes. And so for that reason, I want to keep these short, applicable, uh, where we talk about the principle as well as the practice. And every single episode is intended to be actionable within that day. So my hope and goal is that each one of these really does serve you in your business. As we're looking at both the business perspective and also the marketing perspective, I'm coming at these conversations through the lens of, yes, fourth generation trades leader. And my family painting business started in 1922 by my great grandfather. Also, from the fractional chief marketing officer perspective, I've served as fractional CMO for a number of businesses, and y'all, there's a big difference when we're working with different industries. But I'm also coming from the homeowner's perspective, from the customer perspective. At one point, I did a major home renovation and bumped out our kitchen 2 feet and knocked down a couple of walls, and it was wild trying to work with different contractors and also working with the family business, and I just learned a lot during that time. So with this three-pronged perspective, partially owning a trades company, working in the marketing side and in senior leadership of a trades company, and then also being the customer. That is the lens which we are talking about this topic tonight and most every conversation. So tonight we are talking about effectively how to get better and more leads for your trades business. And every single one of us needs to discuss this because we can never have too many customers. But what we could always use more of is quality leads. And we've actually, over the last couple of days, been talking about a very specific example where one of the clients that we got involved with, where they frankly were pulling in a ton of leads, and it was almost like inflated numbers because they were paying for a lot of additional leads, but the leads were not quality. And so what ended up happening was that when you followed, I think of it as kind of following the yellow brick road, taking the lead, looking at them converting to the appointment, and then looking at those, how many of those are actually converting to full blown customers. And what we found was that the numbers were so inflated at the top of the funnel because we were buying all these extra leads from affiliate partners, but then the quality of the leads, they were not turning into real appointments. And then of those appointments, very few of them were actually turning into real customers. And so when we're talking about the cost of a lead, we need to be looking at the end of the journey, at the end of the entire life cycle of that lead. So it's actually the cost of the customer rather than just the cost of the lead. And so I want to talk tonight about some additional revenue sources in terms of lead sources, because each one of them should turn into revenue. There were a couple of things that we tried out on behalf of some of our customers that really yielded very good results. So number one, obviously, we were talking about doing affiliate leads. That worked in some regions. In some regions where we were brand new, where people didn't know us and we didn't have a strong brand reputation, our affiliate presence did better there because they were filling out a form. And so we had kind of like a more reasonable ability to close those leads because in other areas they knew who we were. And so if they were not going with us at the very beginning, then they probably wouldn't have gone with us towards the end of the day. But in new regions, affiliate leads were working. So that's kind of revenue source number one. I'm still not the biggest fan of affiliate leads, but if you want to go after affiliate and give it a shot, go in those regions where you have a newer presence. To Google leads. There's a couple of different ways that you can show up. We introduced Google local service leads, which is where somebody calls your Google business profile, and then Google will actually reimburse you if that lead is not a quality lead, which means it could be an old customer or it could just be a spam call. Google will reimburse you which is huge. So you're only paying for when a lead turns into an appointment. Y'all, this is huge. So if you don't have Google local service on, it's LSA, local service ads. Those local service ads were huge in terms of being able to get a really good return on our investment. Now, it takes a little bit of time because if somebody does call, you need to effectively submit that person to Google and say, hey, look, this person called, but they're not viable. So you need to have someone on your team who's dedicated to doing that process, but it's such a worthy endeavor. You need to have your business license, and it can take a little bit of time to get approved by Google, but once you do, it's off to the races. And here's the thing, Google at first told us for every single, we had one Google business account and we had all of our locations all underneath that one listing. And then we would submit all of our zip codes to Google to effectively have our regions be submitted under that Google business listing. But then we decided to go forward from there because we were having a lot of success, and we created individual Google local service accounts, and that gave such good results. So Google actually advised us to all have kind of an all-in-one account. We decided to test it out and try it with individual accounts, and we had so much better success. So even if Google advises you to put all in one, go ahead and create individual accounts for each one of your territories. So that's Google Local Service Ads, LSA. And then you've got the traditional Google advertising, which is you're paying for the keywords to be showing up against your competitors. That gets expensive, but it's a very predictable, reliable revenue stream. So long as you're constantly looking at the amount of dollars you're putting in, along with the keywords that you're advertising for, and you've got a regular mix and updating of the copy. Some of our clients we've seen in the past, they haven't touched their ads in so long. And so it's a good endeavor for you to actually make sure that you've got a consistent I guess you could say a consistent renewal of the ad copy in your Google Ads account. Another one that we actually tried and saw a lot of success with was Microsoft Bing ads. And a lot of people are not advertising on Microsoft, but we saw such a big uptick. And, especially in kind of rural territories, a lot of people are searching and using Bing, especially the older demographic. And so it's really important that you are at least showing up there, and then you guys can decide, once you're looking at the data and you're seeing the amount of leads that are converting from that territory across which platform, then you can put more money in that area. But the thing that's nice about Bing is that it's not going to spend if there's not search. A lot of times Google will just spend whatever budget you give it. But Bing, we found it would not spend if it didn't have people searching for your keywords. So Microsoft Bing ads is a good place for you to start investing if you haven't given that a shot before. And it can take a little bit of time. It's a little bit of a slow moving train, but really, really worth the endeavor. Facebook ads is a really good opportunity because it hits on two different phases of the funnel. It hits on people who are just starting out their search and are looking more so in terms of just looking to ask questions. They're more exploratory in their process of the customer journey. They're not maybe ready to buy yet, but the fact that you're showing up during that time is so good because then when they are ready to convert, they've already been seeing your ad and you've effectively been building a relationship with them with the type of ads that you're showing. So we'll probably talk about this tomorrow in terms of the type of ad copy at various stages of the customer journey. But the thing that's nice about Facebook is that it has the ability to nurture with just brand awareness while also capturing the lead if they are ready in that moment to give you a call and ask a question, or they're ready to book an appointment. So I love Facebook for that reason. YouTube is so much more about showing up and having a strong brand presence. And it really solidifies your ability to be remembered in your audience's subconscious. They're seeing an ad, they're watching a video. It's like they're not just seeing a static thing, but you're actually touching on more points of the regions of their mind by both the audio, the visual, and even if they're reading something. So you're engaging more regions of the brain the more stimulus they're receiving in terms of their audio sensory system. So that's the benefit of YouTube and having a really strong video ad is that you're able to engage with more parts of them. So each one of them has a different why, each one of them has a different benefit. But man, when you're being holistic in the way that you're going after your leads, there's so much benefit to kind of hit them in many different angles and meet them where they're at, where they're searching for you. Are they located in the city or are they in more rural parts of the country? And what does their buying pattern look like? So, as you're trying out these different lead generation systems, pay attention to what parts of the country and what demographics are engaging more on what platforms, because I guarantee you, you're going to learn a lot more about your customers by paying attention to the data. And then we'll dive in more so to messaging tomorrow. But for now, each one of these platforms has done really, really well for us, and each one has yielded results when we've needed them the most. So, with that, thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. We are right around 11 minutes, as I promised, and I will see you tomorrow on the Daily